Welcome back to the Reality Kingdom, where we talk all things reality TV or whatever. I'm your host, Pharaoh. We're joined by our wonderful co-host, Lee. Lee, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Taylor with HOH. You know, some of the girls decided to leave Taylor Hobbs this week. We won't miss you. We will not miss you. I thoroughly enjoyed Mother's HOH. I don't give a damn. I don't fuck the haters. Yeah, my sister was a little slow this week. I don't give a damn. I still stand.
Period. I have a little
I have a theory. I honestly have a theory.
What's the theory?
It was a wall comp. Mm-hmm. When you look at her HOH as a whole, the first 24 hours was really where delusion came from.
She was stressed.
She fell off the wall and bumped her head. She had a concussion. So I think we need to strike the first 24 hours of her HOH reign from the record. She did not know what was going on. We're just going to leave that out.
I fully 100% support and agree. I know me. I don't even remember what happened.
What? I mean, what first day?
What first day?
Honestly, to me, it skipped straight to Veto.
Literally.
She was HOH and then Blue Card one Veto. Girl, I was gagged.
Child, just like that. I have a message. For the girls who turn their backs on Taylor this week for the tweet.
Don't come back.
For the tweets that was trickling down the timeline with shade.
We see you. That's the thing. It's a difference between critiquing, but some of y'all was doing a lot. It was giving a lot. It was giving way too much. And we're gonna get into it.
Anyways. Let's get into this motherfucking week. Let's hop right into it. As you know, we are going to be covering week 6 of the Big Brother, what season is this? 24 live.
We're halfway there.
You know, so we are on week 6. As you know, Taylor is the head of household, and she will be carrying us throughout this week. We are going to start from her perspective. Last week, Daniel, weird ass, got evicted.
As he should.
Period, as we should. And this week, right after Taylor won HOH, right in the face, it was a walk-up, as Lee said. So, let's just get into the week. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about the week, we're going to update you on the live feeds, and then we're going to rate the players, 1 through 10, and all of them per. So, this week on the Big Brother live feeds, we start off, and you remember we said we're going to act like the first... We got to tell y'all about the first 24 hours.
Warning, Taylor had a concussion.
Literal
Taylor
warning.
had a head blunt force injury. So a lot of the things are going to sound very dumb. However, she was injured. Mm-hmm. Now, do not quote me on that and do not do any research. Take me by my word. She was injured.
Period. So, coming off the injury, we have Taylor.
Literally coming off her injury. Yes.
So we have Taylor. She just won the wall comp, ate the girls up, and we kind of get her initial response to being HOH. So her initial response essentially is that she wants all of the women to know that they are safe. Period. So literally that night, the night she wins HOH, she has a few 101s, and a lot of them are with the women that aren't in the, what the fuck is Alliance called? Leftovers. The women that aren't in the leftovers, she basically talks to damn near all of them and tells them, hey, you're good. You're good. You're safe.
And the week prior, she was with, Alyssa and Indy and the bestie pair. So all three of them had already decided before even going into this, they were not going to put each other up. And then this kind of just reinforced it with Jasmine as well.
Mm-hmm. So, speaking of Jasmine, Taylor says at the beginning of the week, basically, and she lets a lot of people know this. Definitely the leftovers know. She let a few other people know. Basically, she said, I'm not putting up Jasmine.
And I'm glad you brought this up, because I really want to speak on this. I don't know. I just don't know. This is my opinion, and I don't want to come at anyone else's opinion or whatever other want to think about it. But the way I see it, I just don't think it mattered that much. I mean, yeah, you can say, why would she not put up Jasmine? Jasmine is someone who could put her up. I think Jasmine is one of the more self-interested players of that other side. I think Jasmine is someone that could be workable, that could be moldable in the future. She's one of the people this week that have kind of done talking shit about Taylor and have kind of started talking about wanting to work with her in the future. So I don't necessarily think she needed to get out Jasmine because, first of all of those girls dislike Taylor. All of them, including Terence, would likely put her up. So I don't think it necessarily mattered. I think in this situation, Jasmine, it looks bad because it's Jasmine. But this is something that Taylor wanted to do, meaning that any black woman in this position, it could have been Amira, it could have been Hannah, it could have been Aza, it could have been Davon. Any black woman here, Brittany could be a black woman. Any black woman was not going to go up. It's just so happened in this case it was Jasmine. And I think a lot of people were like, well, it's not good for her game. Why would she do this? And why would she do this for someone who wouldn't do the same for her? I think everyone's kind of missing the point. This is something that she wanted to do. And I feel like she, as a black woman, if she does not want to put up another black woman, she doesn't have to. Maybe she didn't have to be as open about it, I feel, but I don't think this really affected her game at all. Like, she just didn't want to put up a black woman. I was like, this wasn't something that we needed to really analyze, per se. She personally felt like she didn't want to do that, and she didn't want to do that. She didn't have to, and she didn't. So,
period. And Leah's kind. One thing about me, I'm not. Y'all went on Twitter and y'all were acting very weird about this. And this is why I really want to talk about it, because it was just a lot of weird responses. I'm going to be real. And I didn't like the responses because the whole point, Lee brought up a lot of good game reasons, but the point wasn't even the game, baby. Like, and it was very clear that it wasn't, because I don't know, y'all are arguing a non-game decision with game points. And that doesn't make sense. That's insanity, baby. She never said, I think Jasmine's great for my game, so I'm not nominating her. Yet, y'all are on Twitter saying she's bad for her game. Why isn't she nominating her? Because that's not the reason. She never said it was for her game. She never said, I'm not putting up Jasmine because I think I could work with her. So why are y'all trying to make this about the game when it honestly isn't? Yes, they're in the game, but they're still regular people. They're still humans. Like Lee said, she doesn't want to nominate Jasmine because Jasmine is a black woman. Whether you think she's a black woman or not, because me, I'm going to stay out of it. Whether you think it or not, Taylor feels that way. Taylor does. Jasmine is a black woman. Let's stop playing. And Taylor's not going to nominate a black woman because she does not want to. It has nothing to do with the game. So everything you think about the game, first of all, if you're white, shut up.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing. Period. It's like, first of all, y'all are mad that Taylor doesn't want to put up a black woman and start trying to say it's racist. Literally, Kyle is walking around here for the last several weeks trying to build a white brigade. He's not putting up no white person. So that's the thing. It's like Taylor's just being open about it. It's like she's telling you, I'm not putting her up because she's black. Kyle is not going to walk around and say, I'm not putting up Michael, Brittany, or Turner or Alyssa because they're white, even though that's exactly what's happening.
Mind you, she put up a black man. So it's not just because Jasmine's black. It's because Jasmine is a black woman and Taylor as a black woman doesn't want to do that. A lot of people won't understand that, so I get it.
And I think she has every right to. I feel like if it was a situation where Jasmine is the only person on that side or in this house that is targeting Taylor and she still chose not to, then I'd be like, okay, girl, you dumb. But she even said this week, if I have to put up Jasmine, I will put her up. The gag is there were 3 other options, one of which was not a black woman. So she said, I'm not going to put up Jasmine. I don't think anything's wrong with that because I feel like, if anything, Alyssa and Jasmine are more workable players in a sense. Indy is way too emotionally jealous, and Terence is very wishy-washy all over the place. I feel like Jasmine not going up, especially on her birthday, her dad's birthday, is something that could be utilized moving forward. I'm not saying that Jasmine is not going to put Taylor up, not at all, but whoever she didn't put up was still probably going to put her up. Like, these people, it didn't matter which one was going home. However, this started to cause a little bit, not necessarily commotion in the house. However, when she initially promised the girls and Jasmine, all of them, safety, she initially, this is where the delusion, I don't know what happened. We don't know what happened. You know, she's talking to some of her alliance members, specifically Monty and Turner, and she's suggesting, maybe I put, Terence up next to a pond, you Turner. She's telling Turner, I'm going to put you up next to Terence. And then we pretend to backdoor Monty and just get out Terence. Now, Turner didn't take that well at all. So he was like, well, no, because, what if Veto gets one and used on Terence? So Taylor felt like, well, to combat that, I'll just put you and Monty up. Right, Monty? Monty. Y'all go up, and I'll just backdoor Terence.
And I just want to clear it up because one thing about me is I'm a Taylor defender. I think y'all are all playing in Taylor's face.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be real. Monty nominated Taylor, and so did Turner. So, and they both nominated her whilst being in the alliance as a pawn. Yes, it was a twist that was going on, but honestly, even if it wasn't a twist, Taylor might have been a pawn still. So I just she was a pawn still with Turner because that was not because of the twist. It was because he just wanted to nominate her. So I just wanted to clear up the fact that the reason that I feel like the reason that Taylor was willing to nominate Turner and Monty specifically is because they nominated her. It would make sense for the other side of the house. And Turner being a pawn next to Terence, I don't think that was a bad idea. When she started talking about Monty and Turner,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Turner next to Terence initially, I don't think that was an issue. And I think here, and this is where a lot of people got mad. And then Turner even had a confession episode. He was like, "Hey Taylor, I stuck my neck out for you, and now you want to use me as a pawn." And you have people on Twitter like, "Yeah, that's so stupid of Taylor. Why would she put up Turner? He had your back." Let's please dissect this, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, Turner, I've got a little bit more respect for Turner because I am seeing that he is shooting down the white brigade, period, turn daddy. But we're not going to sit up here and pretend and act like Turner is some white savior for Taylor. I'm not going to let that happen because if we go back to the week,
rewind.
Taylor was 1,000% Turner's target until Kyle, shockingly, he was Black Lives Matter at that point, Monty and Joseph told him not to. And even when they had convinced him, when Nicole and Daniel went off on her, he considered not doing it. So let's not sit up here and act like Turner is some savior that just went out of his way to save Taylor. Yes, he had the power, but he wasn't the one controlling the steering wheel. Let's be 1,000% honest. I think he's in a cute position now, and he's loyal to her and the pound and the leftovers, but we're not going to sit up here and act like he just ruined his entire game for Taylor. If anything, his game improved that week because he got
the majority. He was the target. Pooch was gone, then Turner. Turner didn't he didn't ruin anything. His game was ruined. His game got saved by saving Taylor. He saved himself by saving Taylor. Taylor saved him. Boo. Mm-hmm. Like, it's weird how y'all gave him a lot of that credit when, baby, he didn't even want to do it. Like Lee said, he was targeting her. When Nicole and Dale blew up, he was like, "Oh, okay. Oh my God, I don't want to do it." Like, let's be real. Let's be real.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, but that's the thing. And then also too, like in that moment, speaking with her and Monty, they kind of got her off of that train, and then they pushed her on the Indy and Terence train. I do think this week, for me, it did open my eyes to the fact that Taylor, honestly, I can be realistic. I'm a fan. I'm a stan. I can be realistic and say, she clearly just not all the way up there when it comes strategically in this game. However, I don't think a lot of these players are. And at this point, she is out of options of people to work with because half of them hate her. So it's like, she's in the position she's in at this point. So at that point, she decides to nominate Indy and Terence, and it's like, okay, boom, we're back on track.
Period. So now her decision to nominate Indy and Terence, the leftovers agree or whatever, and basically she goes ahead, she makes her nomination, and then we get to the veto competition.
Mm-hmm. Now before the veto competition,
there's a plan that's in motion.
So this is where it gets a little bit. This is where it gets a little bit more shaky. So Joseph is someone who is playing the other side. If you guys are not aware, there we have the leftovers, but there is another alliance in the game currently called the Five Swatters. That is Alyssa, Indy, Jasmine, and they think they have Kyle and Joseph. Now, going into this week, people like Monty, people like Michael are upset because they feel like Kyle and Joseph have an upper hand because they get to play the other side. They're basically like, we don't need y'all niggas playing both sides anymore. The game is open. We don't want you to have that advantage. Kyle is basically like, I don't care because I don't want to work with them blacks anyway. No shade. He is not working with that many POC. Mm-mm. And Joseph, though, he's like, no, I think it's still important to try to utilize them, to try to get them confused, to try to get them to put each other up potentially. So he is still working on that relationship. So in that, he's having conversations with Jasmine, he's having conversations with Alyssa, he's talking to Terence, and something that Terence says really sticks with him, because Terence is basically like, after being nominated, F. Taylor, and I don't even give a fuck if you win veto and use it on Indy. I just want you to use Veto so she can prove that she's actually going to put up a big target, because everyone is under the impression, not in the leftovers, that she's going to put up Monty. So Joseph takes this information back to Taylor, and they concoct this strategy. This is a lot of Joseph's work, because Joseph is a very, very active player. Whether the plan is going somewhere that he needs to go or not, he is going to work for it. And in this position, he is kind of pushing Taylor to the fact that, well, Veto should be used and you should backdoor me. That way you can still keep the appearance that you're dominating a bigger target without actually putting up Monty. Now, I can't defend this, but I do feel like at the same time, I don't feel like this is just proof that Taylor's just a terrible player. I do think in this situation, she was listening to someone that she trusted. And when she was speaking to other allies about it, Michael, Brittany, Turner, they brought it up to Kyle. They were like, well, I mean, yeah, sure. So they felt like they had an agreement with an alliance.
However, they did not. So I think the plan, first of all, let's be clear. It was mostly Joseph's plan. It was Joseph's plan.
Yeah.
Taylor went along with it. My thing is, if somebody come up to me and say, you're going to, I'm offering myself to be nominated, who am I to say, no, I don't want to nominate you? Like, I mean, if you want to be nominated, you can be nominated. Especially if it was going to help Taylor. Also, they did have the votes. I don't believe Joseph was necessarily going to go home. It was honestly good. The plan just was pointless.
It was just a lot of people saw it as extra, and honestly it was. And also a lot of people were scared, because we have people like Michael, Kyle, and Brittany who are not necessarily loyal to the leftovers. However, Joseph, Taylor, and Monty are at this point a little bit blindly loyal. That's going to kind of, they're going to see the light a little bit this week, but they're pretty much blindly loyal up to this point, so they feel like it doesn't matter because they have the votes. And on paper, they should have the votes. I think a lot of people are really, this was like the third change in her nominations. And at this point, people are like, okay, Taylor has fully lost it as a player, because they feel like, well, she's obviously just changing her nominations every once in a while. She don't know what she's doing. But that's like, in the grand scheme of the game, at this point, it's important to mention that her alliance was agreeing to the plan. Monty was down with it. Turner was down with it. Michael and Brittany were down with it in her face, but then they would go talk shit about it behind her back. They would then say, well, she's doing too much. Well, this is a little bit extra. Well, she's not on the same page. However, in her face, they would be like, well, I mean, this is fine if you want to do that, I guess. And it's like, well, it's hard when the only people you trust are like, well, this is great. Let's just do it. How are you going to see it's a bad plan?
Period. And I want to say I'm a great advocate. I say this all the time on the podcast. Strategy is not everything. I'm a big advocate of a social game. I'm a very big advocate of a social game. So to me, strategy isn't everything. I think to 90% of Big Brother watchers, feeders, especially the super fans, they feel like strategy is all there is. And if you lack strategy, you're just terrible and you're a horrible player and you're never going to win and you fucking suck and I can't stand you. Why do we stand Taylor anymore? And what the woo? And honestly, truly, like, not only are you wrong, but I'm right. Strategy just isn't all there is to the game. There's so many layers to this game. There's social game. There's physical game. And a part of that strategy is social maneuvering. Is being able to be in an alliance, being able to be invited in an alliance, being able to be in a good position in an alliance. And honestly, Taylor has all of those things that I just named, other than strategy. And it's like, I feel like people put too much weight on strategy because a lot of the fan base, a lot of the podcasts, a lot of the players have pushed this idea that strategy is the only way to play the game, or that strategy is the best way to play the game, or that it's the only factor, or it's the main factor. I value strategy a lot. I don't want someone with no strategy to win. However, I do feel like that there just are simply other aspects, which is why we get winners like Casey. No shade. But there are other aspects. We get these winners all the time. A lot of winners are not strategic, period. And it's a mixture of a lot of qualities. But honestly, a social game is something that you really need in this game. And I think Taylor has other qualities. So the strategy that she lacked this week, it did not damage her game because of the other qualities she had. It honestly, nothing she did with these nominations that we just went through affected her game, period. anything that affected her game was outside of that, nominations, was outside of all of the other stuff. It was because Kyle wants to be KKKKK. It's because Michael and Brittany feel like KKKKK is right. You know what I'm saying? So it really did not affect her game, even though she did all of this. And I just feel like that needs to be known. Y'all need to like calm it down a little bit when it comes to strategy. Y'all are ready to say y'all not voting her for AFP because of this. Like, please chill. Please chill.
It's really not that serious. I don't think it's that serious.
It's not that serious. And it doesn't even indicate that she's just this trash player. She's still probably one of the best players this game. This season, like, look at the people. Look at them. Mm-hmm. She's probably like top 5, top 6, even with a horrible strategy. No shade.
Anyways, I mean, and that's the thing. We're definitely going to get into it. It's like, you can say she's not playing that good, but neither are her counterparts.
Period. So after this, we have the plan in motion. The plan is that the veto is going to be used regardless, and that Joseph is going to go up regardless in order to.
Whatever. And at this point, Kyle, he is in on it because he's been told, but for the most part, he's been with Alyssa, so he don't know the depth of everything that's going on. Mm-hmm. And this is when Michael and Brittany start to feel like, oh, she is someone that is being swayed by Joseph a little bit more. We may not be able to work with her as closely.
Mm-hmm. So we get to the veto competition. Kyle wins the veto competition. He now has the power veto, and the leftovers are very initially, like at the very beginning of him winning, are like, okay, you're going to use the veto to put up Joseph. However, we start getting a lot of hints from Joseph, and he's kind of like, ooh, wait, what was I saying? I forgot.
What plan? What plan?
He's kind of backing out of the plan. He's kind of backing out of the idea of being nominated. He doesn't necessarily want to be nominated anymore a little bit. And he's being real subtle about it. So now we have the opportunity for smarter plans to come into play. And that's kind of what
I will say, I do feel like once it's really important just to analyze HOH as a whole, because once Kyle did win the veto and they ditched this plan, I think all of her actions moving up were very good. I can sit here and admit, as a Taylor stan, I think her actions up until Kyle winning veto were pretty bad to terrible. I don't think they reflect her as a player. But I do think once Kyle won that veto moving forward, she had a pretty good strategy, and she did really well with connecting with other people outside of the alliance and some of her relations within it. Also, though, the veto itself is really important going into what the potential replacement nominee will be, because this was the prize veto. Now, for some reason, I don't know why, but every season, the prize veto causes a lot of drama. So if I remember correctly, Taylor and Joseph, they got a punishment where they have to be tethered together. That's what she won. Jasmine won a trip from London that she stole from Alyssa. Correct, right?
Correct.
And then Alyssa stole that trip from Taylor. Correct? Or was it the 5,000?
Alyssa? No. Jasmine. Damn. No.
Alyssa stole the trip, and then Jasmine took the trip and gave her the 5K. It's so confusing. Anything got a punishment, but we don't give a damn. But basically, Alyssa taking the punishment, taking the 5,000, taking the trip, shit. Alyssa taking shit from Taylor, the queen mother HOH at the time, comes up again.
Comes into play. So, after the veto, the leftovers start to talk. And as Lee said, Kyle is literally 10-second fucking Alyssa all week. So, he's not around. So, as the leftovers are talking, minus Kyle, they start to discuss the fact that maybe the veto doesn't have to be used. Maybe we can use it to put up somebody else. Woo. And Brittany ends up floating out the idea. I mean, Alyssa's right there. And the reason she's bringing this up is because Brittany and Michael have started having discussions about how not talking to us. Where's our Klansman leader? Where is our... No, like literally, they were very confused as to where their leader was at. And they noticed that he was with Alyssa. So basically, at that moment, Brittany and Michael were feeling like, and they're so damn fickle, which is how I have to say, at that moment, Brittany and Michael were feeling like, Alyssa may need to go so we can have Kyle. So at that moment, Brittany and Michael, but mostly Brittany, I will say, because Michael don't say shit because he's fucking weak. But Brittany started to push, hey, Alyssa's right there. And Taylor was like, mind you, Taylor didn't want to nom any of the girls. She ended up nomming Indy. She was like, ooh, do I want to nom Alyssa? And then Brittany was like, girl, that girl took your thing, took your shit. And Taylor was like, oh,
yeah,
she did take my shit, didn't she?
And then everyone kind of started pushing along. Well, Joseph and Monty kind of pushed along with it. So at this point, she has Michael and Brittany, two of her closest allies. Joseph, someone she considers the closest ally. And Monty, who's in line from her, all like, we're down with it. And Turner, who doesn't necessarily want it, but is not saying
anything else.
So at this moment, the night before it's time to use Veto. Wait, no, the day before. 2 days before it's time to use Veto, the leftovers decided, okay, we're going to have Kyle use the Veto so we can backdoor Alyssa. Now, I don't know why I thought they could pull that off with Kyle, but child, we moved.
So that was the plan that night.
And at this point, like I said, I do think her game improved. However, what was overall best for her game was nomination staying the same. However, Taylor is someone who feels like, well, I am loyal to the leftovers, so I'm going to try to do what's best as the group. And if the group, who is majority of them, are saying, we want this to happen, Michael, Brittany, Monty, and Joseph, then she's going to do that.
Period. So that's the plan. The idea is that tomorrow, Taylor can talk to Kyle and explain the fact that they're going to do this. What actually happens, you can go.
So for some reason, and this is what we mentioned, the Michael. So it's fickleness, it's fakeness, it's ratness, it's all of it mixed in one. But, Michael and Brittany, at this point, they know Kyle wants his little white brigade with them, Turner and Alyssa. And they also are seeing Monty, Joseph, and Taylor as a three because of Joseph's and Taylor's relationship. So they feel like they want to now try to start playing the middle. And I guess setting the two sides up against each other. So Michael, even though the night before helped convince her to nominate Alyssa, he tells Kyle the day before the veto that, Taylor is planning on having you use the veto to have Alyssa go up. He drops this information to Kyle early in the day. So that sends Kyle on a fucking tailspin.
So throughout the entire day, Kyle is panicking. And mind you, he hasn't been in a lot of these leftovers conversations, so he's behind. So he basically spends the entire day trying to catch up. He goes to a lot of the leftover members one-on-one, and he essentially is asking them, without asking them, because who's going to tell them the truth? He's basically saying, you don't want to listen to go, do you?
You're right.
What? And they're basically like, well, I mean, not really. And Brittany and Michael are telling him straight up, they don't want to listen to go. They want to work with him and Alyssa. They want to go to the end with them, and they feel like the White Brigade should happen, and we should pull in Turner and and white power. So he knows in his mind that Michael and Brittany are on his side. So he goes to talk to Monty one-on-one, and basically he talks to Monty, and Monty initially doesn't shut him. Monty's just like, okay, girl, whatever. He doesn't shut him down hard. Turner kind of agrees with him. Turner doesn't want Alyssa to go because Turner and Alyssa have a relationship. So Turner does agree with him. Then he talks to Joseph, and Joseph basically lies to his face, as Joseph does, and says that he doesn't mind who goes home. So initially, that's how he's feeling. He's like, oh, so it's Taylor? Then Michael Rat Ass comes back. So there's a conversation in the HOH between Taylor, Joseph, and Michael. And essentially, Joseph is telling Taylor, girl, this man don't want to use the veto. And Taylor's like, he don't want to use the veto. And Joseph's like, he don't want to use it. And Taylor's like, okay, I guess that's okay. And Joseph was like, wait, that's not okay. And she was like, it's not. And he was like, no, remember she took your shit. And Taylor was like, oh, girl, that's not okay. He better use that veto. What we're going to do is we're going to make him use that veto. Joseph was like, we need to get him to use the veto. We need to convince him. Mind you, Michael is sitting there the whole time.
And Taylor only feels justified in doing this because she feels like, well, the entire alliance wants this.
The entire alliance
Michael, Brittany, Turner, Monty, and Joseph all agreed. They're okay with it. So in her eyes, it looks like, oh, the entire alliance is fine with this. You're the only odd man out. In Kyle's eyes, he's like, well, I have Michael, Brittany, Turner, my white brethren, in allegiance with me. So you niggers are out, okay?
Period. So Taylor and Joseph are basically like, the whole alliance wants to do this, so we confused. So Michael goes back to Kyle, his master, and tells him what they were talking about, basically. He's basically like, they're going to try to coerce you to using it and do. This gets Kyle very anti-Joseph. He was already anti-Joseph as it was, But now he's very anti-Joseph. Joseph got to go. Maybe next week. Like, maybe now. Like, Joseph got to go.
So essentially, what's starting to really pick up this week because of this is the race wars. KKK Kyle is back again, and he is now starting to get to the point where he feels like, okay, it's clear that Monty, Joseph, and Taylor are all working together because they're clearly all on the same side of this thing. I have me, Michael, Brittany, and Turner because we want Alyssa to stay. We need to try to solidify something with Alyssa because those three are working together. And he also comes to the conclusion that the only reason why they want Alyssa to go up is because he was the original target.
Girl.
I don't know when, where, or how he came up with that idea, but Kyle literally spends the day running around talking to everyone but Taylor, or every white person but Taylor, and is telling them how he feels, well, I don't know, and the plans keep changing, and it was from this, and from this, and from this. To be fair, they have been, but to also be fair, Kyle has been up Alyssa's ass this whole time.
Quite literally.
Michael, Brittany, Monty, Joseph, and Turner have been up to date. You got all of this shit last minute because you've been fucking up Alyssa's ass.
Literally.
If you wasn't fucking on pool floaties and nothing in 10 seconds, you don't know what the fuck is going on. So literally, he has, like I said, started fanning the flames of the White Brigade Alliance, but then he finally has the talk with Taylor. And in one talk with Taylor, she's telling him, oh no, if you are not feeling comfortable to use it, then we don't have to. Like, it's fine. Like, I'm not tripping on it like that.
So basically, in that conversation, like Lee said, she wasn't tripping. After that, Taylor's like, during the conversation, Taylor is informed by Kyle that basically nobody wants Alyssa out. And Taylor is like, she said, you mean everybody wants Alyssa out? He said, nobody wants Alyssa out.
And then he goes through the list. He's like, well, Monty is indifferent. Well, Joseph is indifferent. Alyssa, Brittany and Michael want her to stay. Turner kind of wants her to stay. And she was like, okay, I'm not having these same conversations. So I'm just kind of confused because, to Taylor's knowledge, all of these same people, minus Turner a little bit, said yes. So Michael and Brittany getting kind of cut up here.
And that's important. So after this, they basically agree they need to rekindle with the leftovers to get on the same page. So there's a meeting that's about to happen. Michael and Brittany walk in the room, and Taylor is initially like, did y'all tell Kyle that y'all were wanting Alyssa to stay? And they start stammering, and then the rest of the leftovers start trickling in, so they're not able to finish that conversation. When they all get there, this is one of many
meetings
conversations. Goddamn. So this conversation essentially is, baby, are we taking out Alyssa or no? Joseph and Monty are becoming firmly on the side that, baby, Alyssa gotta go. Kyle, of course, is firmly on the side of Alyssa does not have to go. Turner doesn't want Alyssa to go. And Michael and Brittany are mute.
Mind you, Kyle is expecting them to have his back in this meeting because they've been running back and forth and telling both sides, hey, we're on your side. But when they're in the meeting, nothing. Crickets.
Quiet, baby. So they have this first meeting. They argue for a long time. Go back and forth, and there's a standstill. There's really no solution. Michael and Brittany end up trickling out because they don't want to be there. There's another meeting that happens. Same thing. Taylor and Joseph mainly are basically arguing the fact that, baby, Alyssa needs to go because, first of all, clearly she's you're not going to give up on her, first of all. Second of all, she's a social threat, like Kyle told us. She's a strategic threat, like Kyle told us. She's good at the game, like Kyle told us.
I really wish someone would call him out because, mind you, Kyle was the one who put these targets on Alyssa. The week he initially wanted her to go home, on whose week was it?
Monty, the one before Monty. Monty's.
Michael's.
Monty's week.
Monty's week. He wanted Alyssa to go home. He started saying that Alyssa is someone who could swoop in Michael and Brittany and get Taylor. I really think she needs to go. He got up in that poom poom and forgot all about that.
Forgot, girl. So mind you, Kyle is arguing down. Just to make it clear, Kyle is being very aggressive about his argument.
he is strong. Like,
he's
he
standing
is not
10 toes, 11 toes down. He's not giving up. He's not going to let loose. He's not using the veto, boo. And Joseph and Taylor a little bit are basically standing firmly on their side. But the issue is that Kyle has the veto. So if Kyle don't want to use the veto, he's not going to use the veto. So later on, they move positions. They're now at the pool table. The same discussion comes up. The same solution happens, which is no solution. So essentially, by the end of the night, Taylor and Joseph are very, very frustrated with Kyle. Kyle is frustrated mainly with Joseph. And Michael and Brittany are snickering the background.
And I think this is kind of like, after all of this, Kyle kind of speaks with Michael and Brittany, and they further kind of like are like, okay, Monty, Joseph, and Taylor are clearly on the same side. Like, this is a split here, and we need to now start really coming together moving forward, and we have to bring in Turner.
Right. So, speaking of Turner, after this has happened, we basically get the gist. The gist is that Monty, Joseph, and Taylor want Alyssa to go. Kyle doesn't. Neither does. Well, we don't know what Michael and Brittany want, and neither does really Turner. Kyle decides not to use the veto, and the plan now is that we're going to give him all the blame. We're going to make all the girls love Taylor and make them feel like, oh, Taylor tried to take out Monty. That's who they think is going home, and Kyle ruined that. So that's the new narrative throughout the day. Basically, Taylor goes through all the girls. She talks to all the girls and does her rounds. And basically, all the girls are like, damn, Kyle sucks. We hate Kyle. We love Taylor. Well, not love Taylor, but Taylor was going to take the shot and she couldn't because of Kyle. Kyle's probably working with Monty.
And Kyle, and this is a lot on Kyle as well, because as soon as he won the POV, he promised Indy and Terence both that he'd use it. And his excuse is that, oh, I can't use it because she may put up Alyssa, and people like Jasmine and Indy who believe that she's putting up Terence is like, Monty. They're like, well, she was putting up Monty. Like, no, like, you were just scared for this showman. So now people like Jasmine, people like Terence, and even Indy a little bit, they're looking at Kyle and Alyssa like, well, what is this? Like, you're clearly the showman. Like, y'all always going to choose each other over them. So that's starting to affect them on bigger scales as well.
And we'll get into that in the ratings. Period. So essentially, that's how the plan goes through. That's how the veto ends up. And now today, we're getting tricklings of conversations. These tricklings of conversations are going to be very important because next week, we're getting the split house situation shit. So these tricklings of conversations are combos between Taylor and Joseph. Taylor and Joseph are talking a lot more game. They actually did not talk like hella game like that until mostly this week because they've been getting pushed together a little bit more. Taylor used to talk a lot of game with Michael and Brittany. They stopped talking game with her. It's weird. Anyways, the conversations are becoming from Taylor and Joseph and a little bit Monty. It's kind of like, baby, Kyle can go at 7. Kyle can definitely go at 7. We also, on the Kyle side of things, Kyle is trying to pull in Turner. So he's had a few conversations with Turner, essentially trying to figure out, is he KKK like them? Turner is not KKK like them. Turner is the pound strong and then the leftover strong. So Turner's like, at the leftover 7, we can take out maybe Taylor, maybe Michael. And
Kyle is like continuously trying to drop hits. Like, there were a big conversation literally last night where Kyle was kind of saying, like, dropping hints about taking a shot at the leftovers. Like, do you think anybody would? And Turner's kind of just like, well, I mean, people who usually take shots at the Alliance go home. Or they get, they get clipped really early. Things like that. Even today, like a few hours ago, he's like, oh, I just feel like Monty, Joseph, and Taylor are the 3, right, Turner? And he's like, no, I think
maybe the
Monty
pound.
and Joseph are very little to the pound. I'm thinking we get to 7. I'm just hoping Michael doesn't win HOH. Like, so literally, Kyle's entire White Brigade alliance hinges on the fact of Turner agreeing with it because, Michael and Brittany aren't working on Turner. They're not working on Alyssa. Kyle has to bring in Turner and Alyssa. And if he can't bring in those numbers, they only have a 4. And Michael and Brittany are so passive, they're not going to take a shot. They want Kyle to take the shot. So he don't even have a 4. He got Alyssa. And he ain't telling Alyssa shit. So it's like, he's in a situation now where it's like he's forced to work with people that he really doesn't want to because he's racist. And also, I think this is a good time to really dive into, because we're definitely going to get into it in the rankings, but I feel like this is a really general conversation. The Michael, Brittany, and Taylor situation. I feel like a lot of of fans. A lot of fans are trying to give grace to Michael and Brittany, and I understand it. Like I said, objectively looking at the week, I do think the first part of Taylor's HOH was not that good. However, I don't think it's fair to sit up here and pretend like Michael and Brittany are dropping Taylor because she's playing this terrible game, as if they're playing some great game. I think Michael and Brittany are in great positions, but are they using their positions well? Because when you really look at the week or at the house as a whole, the only people who genuinely want to work with Michael and Brittany is Kyle and Taylor. And this week, who are they throwing away? Taylor. Because they feel like Taylor works with Joseph, and if Taylor's with Joseph, then you have Monty. And they don't want to work with Monty and Joseph. They want them out. So they don't have a game relationship past the leftovers with Monty and Joseph because they don't want to go to the end with them. They want to have this white alliance with Kyle, but they don't have a relationship with Turner. When Kyle told them that he doesn't want the alliance, Michael was gagged because they don't have any relationship with Turner. They have no idea what he's thinking. They don't have Alyssa. They have Alyssa through Kyle. They don't talk to Jasmine because they don't like her, and they have no game relationship with Terence. So please, can someone tell me how Michael and Brittany are just playing this masterful game and throwing away Taylor? Michael and Brittany need Taylor. So for them to this week try to throw her away and pin her with the other POC players because of what y'all claim to be a chaotic HOH is so terrible, that's not good on their part. And then I saw people saying like, oh, well, they don't need to play her game. Play your own game. If Taylor is your final three and she is the HOH, it would be smart for your game to utilize that power. Like, for example, I would say Brittany put in a little bit of work, but she's very passive. It was, well, what are you thinking? If you ask someone what they're thinking, they're going to give you what they're thinking. If you don't push back or give a strong opinion, what else is she supposed to believe? Hello here. So I don't think it's fair to say that Michael and Brittany are, I think, necessarily in the right in this situation. I don't think they're playing the situation well at all. Taylor is their strongest number. She's one of the only people who want to go to the end with them, and they're throwing her away for Kyle and this White Brigade Alliance that can't even get formed.
Period. The fuck? And we'll get into it in the ratings in a few. 1 second though. Girl. So going into next week. Because that's essentially the week. Who's going home? What's that man's name?
Indy going home.
He's going home. No, I'm playing. Indy's going home. We will be dragging her. Stay tuned. Going into next week is important. Next week is the split house. There's going to be 5 people in one house. There's going to be 5 people other. There's going to be no communication, an HOH in each, and one person's getting evicted from each. It's going to be a double eviction.
The people going to be nasty.
Girl. Going into that week, of course, if you're not in the leftovers, you have some vulnerability. Within the leftovers, Kyle is mainly targeting Joseph or Monty or Taylor. But mostly, I feel Joseph, then Monty. Joseph, in the leftovers, he would target Kyle. So would Taylor. So would Monty.
At 7, though.
At Kyle, 7. But it could happen in the split.
It's not happening, and they're not targeting Kyle.
If it's five leftovers,
I'm not even seeing that as possible. I don't think that's possible.
Okay, but we should talk about possible. Or if it's 4 leftovers and one of them wins the veto, you have to think about who they're going to target. Or that's if it's true. But that's the thing. Like anything happen.
We don't know what.
Or if Alyssa's with Kyle.
He might not really know what to think with the players like Taylor, Monty, and Joseph because they've been so low as the leftovers that we don't know who they necessarily target at 7 because they've been only worrying about getting to 7.
Literally.
I think realistically it would be Kyle for them though after all the bullshit he just had.
They've been discussing that he needs to get 7.
I think the people in danger coming up in this split house is going to be Alyssa, Jasmine, Monty, or maybe Monty, Joseph, Taylor, and Kyle. I don't know. I think there's a chance that 2 leftovers can leave. I think there's a chance that no leftovers can leave. I think it could be 1-on-1. I think anything can happen. It really just shakes up to how the house splits. I'm hoping that Kyle and Alyssa and Michael and Brittany are both split. I want all 4 of them in 2 separate houses because really bad. Like if Kyle, Alyssa, and Michael or Brittany if that 3 is in the house of 5. If they can get 3 of the whites like that in the house of 5, that's gonna be bad, and I don't trust it. I'm hoping No shade. I'm hoping Taylor's with Joseph and Monty because that's some big ass juicy targets in front of her. Because it can get really bad. But I'm interested to see how this twist is gonna be. It's giving very much Skype game. Like the girls are going out of their way with this one. I don't know who they got into the writers' room this year, but child, they getting paid this year because these twists are. I'm gagged. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of gagged. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm really interested to see how this is gonna work.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be real. It's gonna be real interesting, girl. We got 2 days, you know. Let's get into the ratings. Let's get into the motherfucking ratings.
This was a week. Oh my god.
For real. As you see, we have last week ratings above. Y'all know the drill. What happened?
You do this every time.
Just fucking it up. All right, girl. Daniel got out last time. What you giving Daniel, girl?
A 0. Anyways, let's get to the game.
Hold on. Wait.
Are you giving him a real score?
Yeah. I'm gonna give Nicole a 3. I'm editing Nicole. I'm giving Nicole a 3, Daniel a 2.
Okay. You're being generous today. I don't give a damn.
Yeah. I'm being generous. Let's get to Alyssa.
I'll say that for the overall player rating at the end. I don't.
Oh no, that's right. Alyssa. This is how I feel about Alyssa. I feel like Alyssa is barely playing the game. However, I do see some qualities in her. First of all, she's white. That really, really, really helps her game. You would think that it doesn't matter. Like, oh my God, why are you bringing up race? You kind of have to. Her being white really helps her game. It brings her in.
Especially in a situation where Kyle is building an alliance based on only being white.
Kyle is building this alliance based on being white. He's bringing her in with Michael and Brittany. And one thing about Alyssa, like Michael and Brittany don't really talk to Alyssa or Turner, but Alyssa does talk to Michael and Brittany and Turner. When she's not fucking, literally, she does go out of her way to speak to them here and there. So she puts in effort. She has a good relationship with Turner, which is good for her because he kind of vouched for her. Kyle is vouching for her hard. So that's good. She has some protection because like if a split house situation ends up like Lee said, and it's her, Michael and Brittany, or her, Michael and Kyle, or her, Brittany and Kyle, she could be safe, or even her and Turner in the house because we don't know what Turner is. And he's not gonna take out the leftovers. But she has some safety here and there. But I think she's gonna be heavily targeted by people like Joseph or Monty or Taylor. So the people
Michael and Brittany at some point.
Even Michael and Brittany at some point. And that's the thing. I think in the near future, Alyssa has to go. Either we're taking out Kyle and we're turning on the leftovers, which it doesn't seem like those people will do, or we're taking out Alyssa. So Alyssa's probably going to go very soon. So I don't think that's good for her. But it's weird. She's in such a limbo area because she does have people kind of checking for her weirdly. But she also has so many people finna come after her. So honestly, and all she did was spend her week having sex. So I'm just going to give her honestly, it's not looking too good because now her threat level has gone up a lot. So I'm gonna give her a 3.
Yeah. I feel bad for Alyssa because I feel like honestly the worse Kyle plays, the worse her game goes too. Like she's only becoming kind of more of a target is because Kyle wants to protect her so bad. People like Michael and Brittany are like, Alyssa now has to go because Kyle's too worried about her. Same with Monty, Joseph, and Taylor. Like she's literally, her game is being trashed by Kyle, and it has been since the beginning, up to the point of he using all the information to create the leftovers and then making the leftovers target her to now want to backtrack, which only makes them want to target her more. Like, girl, literally getting with Kyle is the absolute worst thing she could have did for her game. And what's annoying is that she was told information about Kyle from Daniel that honestly I feel like she could have trusted. I don't think Daniel had any reason to lie. And also looking at the numbers, looking at how he moves, it made a lot of sense. Well, her biggest blind side is Kyle, and Kyle himself isn't even 100% honest with her. He hasn't told her about the white brigade. He hasn't told her about the leftovers. He don't tell her shit. He come nutting her in 10 seconds and then dip. At this point, I hope sister ain't getting pregnant because if he nutting in 10 seconds, where is it going? She said she went on birth control a few weeks ago, y'all. I don't know. I'm just saying. Other than getting her back blown out on a floaty in the half-knot room, like Pharaoh said, she has not done anything this week. Honestly, for me, I think it's a 3 as well, only because due to her privilege in the game, you know, she's probably not going. She could really skate by. But like Pharaoh mentioned, like I mean, it's only gonna go so far.
Period. Next we have Caucasoid Brittany. How do you feel about her?
Brittany, like Brittany and Michael this week, I feel like on a personal level, both of them really disappointed me because these are people who claim that they cared about Taylor. They were so upset about people talking mess about her. They wanted to create this alliance. Michael and his thing last week talking about some, my girl Taylor, I'm getting you out for her. And then this week, it's like, where did that go? Because on a personal level, they started saying very weird things. And I want to separate because I can drag them on a personal level and still respect their gameplay. I feel like Brittany has been saying pretty just weird things like, oh, Taylor's only here for the TV moment. She wants to play the Rachel Riley game. I don't know if we can really go to the end with her that much, which I don't think is smart for Brittany because Final 2-wise, Taylor's the only person who is really thinking about taking this girl. Like, she's not even a successful GOAT for anyone other than Michael because no one wants to bring her other than Taylor. So I just don't think it's not smart specifically for her game to let Brittany go. I feel like a lot of the moves she's making is with Michael, but I do feel like they benefit him more at the end of the day. Going with Kyle and Alyssa isn't good for either one of them, but if it's going to benefit someone, I think it will be more Michael. I think Brittany, it's going to be an uphill battle, and I don't even think she's climbing it at this point. I think, she's in this great position. She's really doing sloppy at playing the middle, but she is doing it. And if anything, if they are caught and targeted, Michael will go before her. However, is she someone that's going to have that big redemption arc and take the win? At this point, I'm just not seeing it. I don't know. I'm really hoping to see her in a split house, but I want to see her from up under Michael. Like, what can she kind of do at this stage in the game on her own? But overall, as a player, I think I'm going to go down to a 5 on Brittany, just because I feel like, the position they're in, they're in that middle position, which means the pendulum should be going back and forth. A lot of work this week went into benefiting Kyle and what he wants to create. I keep saying they, but Brittany and Michael gave us so intertwined. They, kind of cut off Taylor. Brittany specifically has no relationship with Monty and Joseph like that. She has no relationship with Turner, even though they're trying to be in the whole alliance with him. Her relationship through Alyssa is through Kyle. Her relationship with Kyle is kind of through Michael, no shade. She don't talk to Jasmine. She don't talk to Terence like that, and they don't like her. So it's just, I wanted her to start building as a player, and I don't think it's happening. Like, if anything, she's just kind of a loyal soldier for Michael's game, and that's just not a good position for her.
Mm-hmm. I agree with a lot that you said. These last couple of weeks, I've been saying, I think Brittany can win. I think Brittany can win. A lot of that was based off the fact that I felt like Michael's chances of winning weren't as great. But after this week, I think Michael's chances of winning, in my opinion, have gone up. And because of the fact that his chances have gone up, I feel like her chances have gone down, in my opinion. I felt like initially, since a lot of the girls were mad at Michael at that point, since Michael had Monty and Joseph to try to get out, since Kyle was spiraling and he wasn't really forming the White Brigade, he was just talking about it and spiraling. I felt like all of those things were going to deter Michael from getting that win because it was just too much going on. Now that the White Brigade is being formed, now that there are sides kind of forming, now that Joseph and Monty are looking at Kyle instead of Michael, one of the reasons I thought Michael was going to go is because Joseph and Monty were going to target Michael first. I feel like Joseph, Monty, and Turner were all going to target Michael first, but now it's seeming like only Turner's going to target Michael first, and now Joseph and Monty are going to target Kyle first. And if that's the case, then that's way better for Michael, which means it's worse for Brittany, in my opinion. At this point, all Brittany's going to be is, like Lee said, a loyal soldier. She can't win this game. I don't think she can really win this game anymore. It's slipping. I'm not going to say can't. But if Michael doesn't go, she can't win. And if Michael goes, she can't win.
Yeah.
Because she needs Michael, but she also needs him to go. And she doesn't have anywhere to go if he goes because she's cut off this relationship with Taylor, like Lee said. And it just isn't good. So I'm going to also give her a 5. I gave her a 5 last week. I'm going to just keep her at the 5.
It's just she's not in a position to be losing allies. Brittany specifically is in no position to be losing allies, to be trying to turn people away. That's just not smart for her. All she has is Michael. Taylor was someone she really could have utilized. And
I feel like a lot of this plan is way better for Michael than it is for Brittany. Honestly, Brittany should have just.
And I know that people are going to say, well, no, because Taylor, she showed that she could not work for her and da-da-da-da. You can't have one or two passive-ass conversations with someone and expect them to be on the same page. And this is what a lot of players are doing this season. People like Brittany, people like Michael, people like Kyle, they're in great positions based on a lot of privilege that they receive on being we know what. But when it comes to actually playing the game, they take very passive approaches. Socially, Michael and Brittany a lot because they don't have strong relationships. But it's just, if you go to someone and you say, well, how do you feel about this? And what are your plans? And where do you want to go? And they start expressing it and you're agreeing and you're not saying, well,
you're fake agreeing. Yeah.
You cannot tell me if Brittany went up there and said, I don't think this is smart for you or me. We should do something else. I 100% feel like Taylor would have listened. She immediately felt like because Taylor was getting close to someone like Joseph, that she did not have that control anymore, and she no longer wanted to use her anymore. And it's just like, that is not only weird on a personal level, but it's not smart for her on the game level.
Brittany and Michael have this white fear, this white fragility, and it really is affecting their game. And as we're talking about their game, we kind of have to mention it because the fact that they're afraid to talk to Taylor like an ally, the way they talk to each other, the way they talk to Kyle, is weird on a personal level. But when it comes to the gameplay, it's also very much so going to affect their game. I think the fact that they're treating Taylor like this ick or like this entity that we can't talk to normally. She can't be a normal player. Oh no, Taylor. And they haven't, and it's not like a lot of people are blaming her HOH, but prior to her HOH, it's not like they gave Taylor
it.
They didn't give Taylor the tea prior to her HOH. Even, girl, let's bring it back. When we were all the way back before the leftovers, Kyle wanted to make a 4 with Taylor, him, Brittany, and Michael. Michael and Brittany were like, maybe we can wait on bringing in Taylor. Then, when they talked about making the leftovers, Michael and Brittany were like, are we going to bring in Taylor or shouldn't we just leave her on the side? Kyle was like, no, we're going to bring in Taylor. Kyle, the Klansman, had to tell them to bring in their number one ally other than him. Like what?
They have never...
It's been a consistent lack of treating her as an equal.
They don't, and that's their issue. Taylor was a strong number for their final 3. She was someone loyal to them, and specifically for Brittany, bring her to the end, and they're letting it drop this week. And like I said, I can say, maybe Taylor's action could have turned them off a little bit, but if you're playing a game with the little allies they have, they can't afford to let the
Taylor one go. Ally they have, which is Taylor.
They see Kyle literally ratted them out this week. They see him tumbling his game. They keep mentioning it, but they still want to work with Kyle. It's but Taylor makes this little mistake, and now, can't work with her anymore. Done.
Then, their plan is to use Kyle and get him out, to get him out. If your plan is to get Kyle out eventually, or to have Monty get out Kyle, who are you going to work with after that? Because you're not talking to Taylor. So I right now, I still think they're in a good position. However, the fact that they've kind of cut off this strategic line with Taylor, I think that's a bad decision, and I'm going to rate them accordingly.
Yeah, and I hope it's not consistent, because if they continue to let this relationship slip and she actually does be 100% loyal to Joseph, that's it. Because thankfully for them, Taylor has not cut them off, even though she caught them being shady this week.
She should have. Next we have Indy. Girl, she literally has done nothing. She's been in the game and hasn't really done anything. She's never even been in an alliance for real.
Once Festy Bestie started, Indy was basically out of the game. That blind side, the mirror blind, and I think this is because Indy was never ever in the majority. If we go back to the origins of Indy game, she was a pawn for the girls and the ones who were working for Post Pack. She was never ever someone they really wanted to work with. When Jasmine won her HOH, they brought her in more because she was a girl. Once the leftovers took power, it really shook Indy because, she was never in the actual power structure of that side. So being forced with them, they didn't really give a damn about her. So at this position, she had no one in the leftovers checking for her. They're not worried about her. And then she just became this emotional wreck, jealous of Taylor, threatening to throw hot soup in her face. We're definitely going to get into it when we get into that Dragon video. Check it out this Thursday. But she has been stopped paying attention to the game. I don't think there was much she could have do to get out of this position this week, to be honest. However, because it was prior work. You know what I mean? She should have been made connections. She should have been in alliances. But we said it when we first saw her, what the fuck was she doing here? Why was she casted? This girl knew nothing about Big Brother. All she knew was that Javier is what she called him. I'm using her pronunciation of it. Javier on Big Brother 23. That's all she knew. Like, and now she's going home. I'm gonna say it's a 2 because at least she didn't, get herself nominated like a Daniel or Nicole. I don't think she's that terrible at the game. I do think she has an okay game sense. Like, she's aware that she's probably going home type shit. You know what I mean? Like, she's pretty aware, and she's a prophet. She prophesized Taylor staying in the game and getting her ass out. So, it's a 2 for that. Come on, Queen. That's so indie. It's the future that she can see.
I'm gonna go with the 2 too. Next.
Now we agreeing on all of these, child.
Dave's is doing the same thing. We have Jasmine. Now, Jasmine is an interesting one, and honestly, I've always felt like Jasmine was an interesting one. She always gives interesting. I don't think anything she did this week saved her. I think she would have been the target had any other leftovers. Remember, one HOA, she probably would be leaving the motherfucking house. Next week, she's a big target for the leftovers. A lot of the leftovers, if it was a regular week, we're saying we're not even going to take the shot just yet. We're going to take out Jasmine, then we're going to take the shot. That's what Michael and Brittany agreed on. Turner wants her out. People just don't like her. She's just not likable. But something about her, she always is moving around in the game. She was a lot. That's the weird thing. Like, when it comes to strategy, low-key Jasmine got a little bit of it because she was one of the main reasons that the Fly Swatters got together. She's also very connected with Joseph. Well, in her mind, she thinks she has a great relationship with Joseph. In her mind, she thinks she has a good relationship with Kyle. She kind of does hold Alyssa and Indy together, even though Indy's going home. So she still has like some weird, like just strategical senses within her. I do think she's probably going to go home soon. If she can get past this little double thing, that'll be interesting to rate her after that. But we're not there yet, and there's no indication that anyone would ever do anything to protect her, especially after Indy goes. Because once Indy goes, Alyssa's going to be fully with Kyle. So there's no thing linking them together. It's kind of like, oh, we're still the girls a little bit. It's 3 of us. Now it's just 2 of y'all, girl. Who you got, really? So it's gonna be a 3 for me.
Yeah, I think what Jasmine needs to really catapult her game at this point. Let's say she can make it past this double, which I don't think is impossible because
I don't think it's impossible.
There are people who I think will keep her safe in a few situations, even though Michael and Brittany are coming for her ass hard. If she can get to a point where a shot is taken after leftovers and they target each other, I do think Jasmine can skate through. And I don't think she's someone that's going to necessarily just flop at these in-game comps because they have changed and things like that. So I do think there is another chance for Jasmine to potentially get out another HOH and could make a game-winning move. No shade. I just think that potential realm is just so far out of reach, but I don't think it's just not necessarily going to happen. Like, her biggest downfall of this game is really just, her personality. People just don't like her. Like, people just genuinely do not like her. Turner want her ass out. Brittany and Michael want her ass out. Taylor don't even like her. She's only keeping her in the game because she's a black woman. Literally. Like, Monty and Joseph, I feel like people who she could have had don't like her because she's annoying as hell. Like, at this point, she spent 90% of her time trying to fuck Joseph. Mind you, she's a married woman.
Over on the motherfucking... Y'all see
that? So, literally... because Joseph was sleeping in Taylor's bed. That's right next to Jasmine's bed. Jasmine wakes up. I guess she said her back was hurting. So she does a full, what is it? Like, she arches her back.
Deep arch.
Face down. Ass up.
Scoot it up, y'all.
Scoot it up. Right next to Joseph. Mind you, Joseph is not looking at all.
Here go girl. She doing all of that. Joseph is at the wall, baby. Y'all, it's the wall.
Tell me someone is DMing this woman's husband because,
girl. After the toot up, she's like, "Oh, girl, I done accidentally got naked in my bed last night, Joseph. That was crazy. I don't know how I ended up naked in my bed.
Naked.
Like, what?
Wow. And I get it. Joseph is definitely fine, but girl, you're married. Anyways, I just like it's a 2 for Jasmine. It's going downhill for her. But I've been rating like the girl side of things low because they just been out of it. They've been out of it. A Leftovers winning this season, point blank.
End the period. Next we have Daddy Jojo. How you feel about Joseph King?
Joseph. So last week we gave him the highest score, mainly because he did a lot of good work. I think Joseph, he just someone who do so much. It's like, it's really just like that overthinking. Like once you start going and going, it's just a downward spiral. Like, you know, once he convinced Taylor to put him up potentially, I was done. Because why would you want to go up? Like you just saw what happened to Pooch. You just saw what happened to Nicole. You just saw like come on, like babe. And like we're on the outside terrified because we know Kyle and them want his ass out. So it's like it's not good. It's really not good. I feel like, when Kyle won the veto, he did take that turn. He no longer wanted to go up, which is great on his part. But now he's in a position where people like Michael, people like Brittany, people like Kyle are seeing him as a threat because they see how well he finesses the other side. They see how well he plays with people within the alliance. Joseph has a phenomenal social game. People like Alyssa, Kyle's butt buddy, is like, oh, I love Joseph. Jasmine wants to fuck Joseph. Terrence loves Joseph. Indy also wants to fuck Joseph. Me also wants to fuck Joseph. Taylor also wants to fuck Joseph. Shit, Monty and Turner probably do too. So like a lot of people really, a lot of people really like him, but it's like I do feel like because they're not aware of Kyle and what he's doing, I don't think Monty Taylor or Joseph will ever take that first shot. I don't think they ever will unless they have to in a split season situation. I feel like they will have to wait until Kyle makes the first shot, or maybe Alyssa, maybe Michael and Brittany. And if that's the case, I do think Joseph will be the shot. And if that's the case, well, then he'll be out. And that's really scary. But he has so many people on his side that they may not even have the votes. That's the real Gagiana of it all. So I don't know. I'm really scared for Joseph. He's someone I really want to see at the end of this game. And I do think he has really good win equity. But I feel like he took some shots to his game. I'm going to bring him down to a 6. Because I feel like even with the strategic mishaps, I mean, his social game is so top tier. And I feel like he's someone that knows how to rebound. Like, this week, like with the whole, like Kyle is trying to form his little alliance, and Joseph is working on Turner. I don't even know if that's consciously or not, but he is building a relationship with him. He stays up to like 3 a.m. with Turner and Taylor like every morning. Like those are things that he's doing. Like Jasmine and Terence and them are still actively thinking he's on their side. So it's like it's not going to be the easiest thing just to get Joseph out of this game.
I agree. I think Joseph just naturally does a lot of work. He's one of the hardest workers in this house. He's constantly game talking, and that really, really benefits him as an overall player in this game. I'm very scared because with this split house situation, it could incentivize, it could speed up his process of getting voted out. Just next week, he could go home. 2 people are going home. One of them is going to be somebody, and the other one could be Joseph. It really increases his odds or decreases his odds. So that's why it's looking scary. I don't think the work he's did has necessarily been bad. They kind of just want him out because he's a colored. It's kind of weird. So I think so. It's not necessarily what he's doing, but what he is doing is he is playing very hard, very openly. His entire alliance knows he has the entire other side locked, and that's not a good thing for them to know. Them knowing that is ridiculous. However, he has the entire other side locked. Jasmine's not voting his fine ass out. I don't think so. And if that's the case, they might need her vote. And Kyle doesn't have her vote. So I think and that's the thing, even Alyssa, Kyle said, "You're not gonna target Joseph?" And Alyssa was like, "No, maybe Monty." So I was gonna say the white people are going to target him, but only Kyle, Michael, and Brittany may target him. And Brittany and Michael are scary. So I don't even see them targeting him unless Kyle's in their house. So I think I don't think it's going to be too bad for him. I definitely think he can skate by. And
if he can get past the double.
If he does skate by, it's going to be nasty for the whites. I know that's right. He could easily win one of these HOHs. That's another thing. And that'll just dead it right there. So it's hard for me to want to rate him lower because I don't think it's down and out for him. I think it's a lot of pieces of the puzzle needing to be in the right place for him to go home. And that's because he has so much good work that he's put in. He kind of does have Taylor, Monty, Jasmine, Terrence, and Turner. And baby, that's the house, minus the whites. So it's like, and he has Alyssa. So it's like, he really, I'm just scared. I do feel like it's gonna put him in a bad position, knowing what's coming up. That's gonna put him in a bad position, and also he has a target on his face, like a big ass target for Kyle. Like Kyle get an HOH, it's over. He gonna do anything in his power. He'll backdoor that man. He'll tell that man, no, I'm not even gonna nominate you, and then he'll backdoor the fuck out of him. Like Kyle wants that man out, and that's weird and nasty, but hey, it is. So I'm gonna give him a 5.5. I am. I'm just scared for him. He could easily go next week.
Mm.
I don't want him to. Oh my god.
Okay. KKK Kyle, child.
So we have Klansman Kyle, Klansman King Kyle, KKK, the leader of the NRA.
White Brigade. The secret majority.
Girl.
The silent majority is what he called it.
Anyways, Kyle has honestly, like, despite the fact that he's borderline racist, he also has played very horribly this week, in my opinion. First of all, let's do the obvious. He's telling Taylor that he wants Jasmine, Terence, and Alyssa to be mad at him, and that he's okay. Alyssa, and he's okay with pretending that
just because he does not want to use Veto.
Yeah, so he got Jasmine and Terence mad at him actively. He wanted them to be mad at him. He's okay with them being mad at him. Now they're willing to target him. He did a lot of back talk, a lot of standing 10 toes down, a lot of tiptoeing around this week. Because he didn't just immediately tell Taylor he's not going to use the veto, he, once the Alyssa thing was brought up, he instead went around tiptoeing to everyone about Taylor, and that got back to Taylor. So when it got back to Taylor, Taylor essentially was like, he's been talking shit about me this whole time a little bit. I don't know. So it's influenced her to not want to trust him. Now Taylor and Joseph have a very ick about Kyle. And Monty have a very big ick about Kyle that they do not feel comfortable with anymore. And this was not his position last week at all. We had him up there we had him very high last week. But baby, when I tell you KKK Kyle, it's going down in an earlier round. Oh, baby, it's going down because he's going to be a target. Once they get to 7, he's going to be a target. Jasmine and Terence might target him. So it's not looking too good, Buki. Especially because he has this partner of Alyssa. Because even if Kyle isn't targeted, Alyssa might be targeted because even Michael and Brittany want Alyssa to be targeted. And that's a horrible for him. And it's because of what he did this week. The standing 11, 13 toes down. That was bad, Buki. So I don't think he's done anything this week that's good for his game. He kind of, in a way, let Michael set him up a little bit and let Michael make him take this hella heat. He knows Michael and Brittany were standing 10 toes down in private, but in public we're not. And he didn't really do anything about that. He kind of just let that be. And really, he took all the heat for that. He took all the heat for the veto not being used. He took all the heat this week, and he seems to be okay with it just for some pussy. So
literally.
Baby,
10 seconds of pussy.
I still think because he's white, he has his white soldiers. So that's good. I think the people in the pound, Terence, Turner definitely is still going to be loyal to Kyle. I think Joseph and Monty are very fading on that, so I don't even say that. But Turner's still going to be loyal to him. Michael and Brittany don't necessarily care about him, but they also, I don't think, are going to let him go before a Joseph. So he has some outs here and there, and he's still in the leftovers at the end of the day. And no one wants to turn against the leftovers but him, Michael and Brittany, and they're not going to turn on him. So he still has a lot of good things that's going on in his game. So I'm going to give him a 4.
Ooh.
I'm gonna give him 4.
She's shaking the table.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, and like that's the thing. When you really look at Kyle's, this is why Kyle's game is so crazy. Because when you look at Kyle's game on paper, he's in one of the best positions in the house. He created the leftovers. He has Alyssa, who has connections in Indy and Jasmine that are keeping him safe. He has bonds within the leftovers, the final 2 with Turner within the pound. He has Michael and Brittany. Taylor liked him a lot. He had the 5 slaughters that included safety with the entire side of the house. So it's like, going into this week, he was protected on literally all angles. And he decided to throw away for 10 seconds of pussy on a have-not floaty. Like, that is insane. And it's because of his own ignorance, his own white fragility that caused these things. Literally, because he feels like Jasmine, Terence, and Indy are POCs, that they are more inclined to work with people like Monty, Joseph, and Taylor, which means he doesn't even attempt to work with them. Jasmine and Indy are literally besties, and that's something that he could use to his advantage. Jasmine, Indy, and Alyssa are all besties, and he chooses not to because he feels like, well, I can't make that relationship with them. People like Taylor is someone who really liked Kyle a lot prior to this week, more than Amante is now looking at him sideways. He's in the pound, the final four of, could have been the final four of this season, but because he feels like Monty and Joseph are getting closer with Taylor, he feels like he can't even go to the end with that anymore. He is actively shutting out allegiances based on race, which is so ignorant, which is so stupid for his game. Because now, like Farrell mentioned, he's throwing it all away for Alyssa. He's throwing away the alliance he created, the Final Four he created, that could have got him all the way to the end of this game for Alyssa. If he wins HOH, he's going to take a shot at this alliance for Alyssa. Mind you, Alyssa isn't even being 100% honest with them. Because this week when they fucked, she told Turner about it. He asked her one simple question. Hey, girl, did you tell anybody that we fucked? She said, no. Lies for no damn reason. Like, he told her, don't tell anyone this week, but I'm not going to use the veto because I'm scared you're going to go up and I don't want you to go home. She told Jasmine that. This girl does not even trust him 100%. So it's like he's doing that. And mind you, for allies that he doesn't even have, he wants to turn on them for this white brigade that he wants to form, the silent majority. Turner doesn't want to be in that. Michael and Brittany are both fickle and fake and will not win HOH and make moves for the alliance. And Alyssa knows nothing about the alliance. So it makes no sense. It literally makes no sense. Like, this week, I mean, further sunk his game for literally no reason at all. Unfortunately, like Farrell mentioned, because of the privilege and things like that, and because he just genuinely is in a good position, like, it's going to take a lot more work for him to tear it down, and trust me, he probably is going to do that work. But at this point, I'm not that low. I say it's a 5.5 for me, because I do feel like he has so many outs, and I feel like he will be able to utilize them. But it's just like, if he continues to go down this path, he's going to get caught up. Because, I mean, like I said, he's pushing out people that he can work with based on nothing but race. So, I mean, if Alyssa goes home, I mean, he's going to be asked out. Because at that point, he's going to see his only available people to work with is Michael, Brittany, and Turner. And we just mentioned Michael and Brittany don't want to take a shot. They want him to take a shot. And Turner is not going to take a shot at anyone before the 7 gets to 7. So he is now forced in this group of people that he will not even entertain trying to further, insulate himself with, because he feels like he can't break this 3 of Monty, Joseph, and Taylor because they're fucking black. It's weird. But anyways, yeah, that's my thoughts on Kyle this week. It's bad. It's bad.
Period. Oh, here you go. So we have next Michael. I genuinely feel like Michael's in the best position in the game. I didn't feel like that until this week. I feel like Michael has usurped Kyle's position and kind of has centered himself better within the leftovers than Kyle was, and I think that's very beneficial. No one is looking at Michael for 7, but Turner is still kind of like, Michael can definitely go before the pound. I know Joseph and Monty will probably take out Michael before, right after Kyle, if they do take out Kyle first. So Michael's still not in the peak power position. However, he's in a very good position because he's centering the leftovers around him, or he's trying to. He's kind of let Kyle take a lot of this heat on purpose, according to him. Him and Brittany have had a lot of conversations about how they want Kyle to take a lot of the heat. They want Kyle to take the shot. He's basically using Kyle like his little bitch. And hey, that's good for him, especially if it works out. If they can get into a situation where the split house lets Kyle get an HOH, Kyle takes out Joseph. That'll be really, really good for Michael. But that would have to happen. If that doesn't happen, I still think he has a great potential to win a lot of these in-game comps if the leftovers do make it to 7. So that's also really good. He put in a lot of work to kind of make Jasmine and the outsiders not feel mad at him anymore. They're kind of now mad at Kyle a little bit. They still want to take a shot at Monty a little bit. So he's still in a good position in that terms. So I think Michael is in the best position in the house. I think he did put in somewhat good work when it comes to making Kyle go crazy a little bit, because he did expose the information to him about Alyssa before Taylor did, which kind of riled him up, made him seem very, very shady, and then it made him go act literally a literal fool in the meeting. So he kind of put in a little work to create that, make that happen. So I like that. But what I don't like is the way he's, like Brittany, cut off his ties with Taylor a little bit. I think he's did it even more than Brittany. I feel like Taylor was a secret weapon that he had in the game that he's kind of just backing away from. I don't like his social game. He doesn't have good social bonds with anybody but Taylor and Brittany, and he's cutting off Taylor a lot. He's talking to her less. He's not telling her the truth. He's not gaming with her, and I think that's also bad for his game. If the wrong set of people win HOH, or if the wrong situation occurs and you lose someone that you feel like you need, the only person you can really turn to is Taylor, and you're kind of losing Taylor to Joseph by your own accord, by you being afraid to talk to her, by you being afraid to game with her. You're losing her to Joseph a little bit. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, Buki. And I don't like that for his game, which is why I don't feel like he's necessarily playing this week good. I just feel like he's in the best position. And being in the best position in this house doesn't necessarily mean much. Last week I gave him a 6. Honestly, I'm just gonna keep him at the 6.
Yeah.
And that's that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the 6 this week. And like I just want to address the haters on Twitter once again, because it's really about being objective. I think a lot of people, they really went in on Taylor this week and they felt like, oh, you guys are only dragging Michael and Brittany because you're upset that Taylor's a flop and you don't want to admit it. Girl, real Taylor fans know that this HOH was not all of that, but we don't have to sit up here and throw it in her fucking face and call her all type of names because of it. And we can't sit up here and act like someone like Michael is just sit up here playing just a 10 times better game than Taylor, because he's not. I mean, socially, like I already mentioned, he has no relationship with Jasmine. He wants her out. He has no relationship with Terence. The only relationship he has with Alyssa is through Kyle. He has no relationship through Turner. He wants this side to form to help his game that is not going to form because Turner is not down with it, which he did not even know because he doesn't talk to Turner. He doesn't want a relationship with Monty and Joseph because he wants them out. And he is now letting go of a relationship with Taylor that could potentially help him, because someone like Taylor can take out Kyle for you. She can take out Monty for you. But because he feels like, oh, like Kyle, he can never get a relationship stronger than what Joseph and Monty has with her, that he doesn't even want to do that extra work to put into that. I feel like that is going to be an issue with Michael when it comes to the end game. He has no one other than Brittany that is really banking on bringing him with them to the end, and Brittany is not someone who is going to be doing the bringing, I don't think, at any point in this game. I don't know. I don't really see that for her. So I just feel like, yes, he's in a great position, but he is not necessarily handling his position that well at all. I do think his social game could be a lot better. He can be a lot less messy. And then I'd be thinking, 8, 9 for sure. But I feel like it's a lot of messiness going on. He doesn't have too many strong connections. He's going to need those connections when it starts getting to the end of the game. Because we all have to remember, he has small competition wins. Like, that is going to come back up. He's not going to be able to get Monty and Joseph out. That's just not going to happen. I think one of them are going to realize, okay, he got to go. You know what I mean? I don't even think Kyle's going to want to go to the end with Michael like that. Because I think Kyle's going to want to either get to the end with Alyssa or get Michael out. So he's always going to have that obstacle to get over. And the gameplay, I don't think he did much to necessarily improve the game this week. Fanning the flames of kind of the race war, really what it is going to help him in the long run. But this week he got caught up in doing so. So, I mean, it's really on rocky paths, because I feel like depending on what happens, Michael and Brittany, they do not need to go to the end with the leftovers. But because they're not able to successfully build a group against it, what they wanted to happen, they're kind of going to be forced to go to the end with them unless they take a shot. But they don't want to take a shot. They want Kyle to take the shot. So they kind of need that to happen. But at this point, like I said, I'm going to keep it at the 6.
Sure. Next we have Monty. Monty's interesting because he's kind of laid low a little bit in his game, and I think that has helped people kind of want Joseph out before him. but only a few people, because since Joseph has this great relationship with Jasmine and with Alyssa and with Terrence, girl, what the fuck? It's kind of leaving them to still want to take out Monty, to still take that shot at Monty, and that's not good for him at all. I feel like because Monty hasn't necessarily put in a lot of work within the leftovers because he thinks the pound is still a thing, that's also not good. He's kind of just rolling with the idea, oh, we're getting to leftover 7, and then after that, the pound, and that's not real anymore. Only him and Turner are really thinking that. I think Monty is kind of leaning towards taking out Kyle a little bit now, which is helpful because Kyle is coming for Joseph and him.
Yeah, but like that's not till 7 though. It really
But
is not
that's
going
not
to
till
matter
7.
until they get out of that till 7 thing, which
It's
won't be until Kyle takes
exactly.
a shot. So
Exactly, and that's not good. But I don't know. It's like it's like Monty didn't do much work for his game. A lot of game was happening, and Monty really was not involved a lot at all. And like Lee just said, like it's not till 7 that he wants to take a shot where he needs to be taking the shot at. So it's gonna have to be a low score, honestly. I'm gonna have to give Monty a 4.
mhm. I think a positive for Monty this week is that Joseph did so much work that he is now officially a bigger target than him. I do think if Joseph is next to Monty, it's a good chance that Joseph just goes because he is seen as someone that is strategically,
But that's
stronger.
only
And
for
I
certain people. Jasmine doesn't think that. Alyssa don't even think that. Terrence doesn't think that. So it's
but
only for.
I do think if a shot gets taken, it's still like I do think like if let's say Kyle wins and he puts up
Mhm.
Joseph and Monty, I can see the influence being like, okay, Joseph have to go, and I don't think it'll be too hard for
I
Terrence
see.
and Jasmine and this. I really don't think it'll be that hard to just get them on board with it, to be honest.
Mhm.
But you're right, we'll see. But I do think it's really good that Joseph had at least put himself on the same level or higher as Monty and a lot of
Mhm.
people's lives because at first it was just Monty
That's
as
true.
this big ringleader, So that's good on his part. But like you mentioned, he really wasn't in most of those talks. If anything, he just made people like Kyle, Michael, and Brittany not want to work with him even more. People like Alyssa, Jasmine, Terrence, he is completely just no longer working on. He's really all about leftover strong, which is not good because leftovers is not about leftover strong. So for me though, I'm gonna leave it at a 5 because I do not feel like he is just down and out. I feel like at this point Joseph can go before him, and if Joseph does go before him, then Monty might be able to get himself back into a good position because I feel like if he sees what's happening, then he will work on the relationship with Jasmine. He will go back with Terrence. He
Mhm.
will work with Taylor more. He will solidify with Joseph. He will solidify more with Turner. Hell, he might go solidify with Michael and Brittany. I just think he doesn't know the danger he's in, which is scary. But I think if he is able to figure it out, it sucks because a shot may have to get taken to make that happen. But if he's able to survive that shot, then I do think he'll be able to really pivot well and really make a deep run. Because at the end of the day,
Mhm.
people say he's a threat mainly because he's a big black man. Let's be 100% honest. He hasn't won shit.
Mhm.
But the HOH that I mean, what was the HOH he won?
I don't
Was
even
it?
remember.
Wasn't it? Oh, it was pushing the damn beer thing down the goddamn table. That wasn't shit. So it's
Oh.
like when it comes to being a big physical thing, it's not given that. So I do think he'll be able to really make a deep run if he can get past that potential shot being taken by KK Kyle.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with that. Um. Period. Next we have Taylor Child.
So Taylor. Like I said, I am still 10 toes for Taylor. I don't really give a damn. Like I said, I think this week really showed the people who was here for Taylor and who was not. There are some people who I respect because like you can critique her game. I don't think her game was the best this week. She definitely could have played better. But a lot of people was just getting really, really weird. Like I saw some really negative things, and I felt like no one was even seeing her point of view. Like we have to be realistic here. Taylor has nobody in this game. Okay? Nobody in this game. So she has to rely on these allies because if she does not, who else she's gonna run to? Like I see people on the time like, oh no, she needs to rat out Michael and Brittany and turn on them because they're being fake now. She cannot risk that. That is not a risk that she can take because she has nobody. Like, even with the decision on who she wants to get out between Indy, Terrence, Alyssa, and Jasmine, all of these people have the potential to still go after her. She realizes that and she recognizes that. So I feel like we have to give Taylor a benefit of the doubt this week. A lot of the reason why she felt even comfortable doing what she's doing is because she did have the backing of very passive allies and allies who had other ulterior motives like Michael and Brittany. So it's like, I don't think you can just say that she is just this big, terrible player, but I think she has proven herself to be, a little bit less on the strategic side, which, it is what it is. I think overall, I'm going to say it's a 5 for Taylor because when it comes to making her threat level, is just I wanted her to really diminish that a lot this week, and I do think she did it with some people like a Jasmine, like a Terence, but then with other people like Kyle, slightly Alyssa a little bit, I can see them still being like, okay, we want to go after her. I do feel like because her social game is so good, people like Monty, Joseph, and Turner are not going to even worried about touching her to against the 7. And like I said, with all the turmoil that's happening with Kyle, if he takes that shot and Taylor makes it pass as well, I do think she'll be in a position to where she can also make a deep run, because once the shot is taken, Taylor will be off the table because they're going to be worried about Monty, Joseph, Kyle, probably Michael, Brittany, Alyssa, a lot of other people that's not her. And that's really good for her. I do think Monty and Joseph, as long as she gets into this split situation, will be targets above her, which is really good. I think she stumbled, but she did not fall this week, and I think she still had a chance to honestly still win this game. I don't think this was the end for her. I think people who sat up here and turned on her are going to be back in the next few weeks saying, "Oh, Queen Legend, no. We gotta remember when y'all slipped, okay? Because the real ones, we stand here today one. Because at the end of the day, and that's the thing. I think as the season progressed, some people forgot what they said at the beginning. I do not give a damn about anyone but Taylor in this situation. I can look at the game and I can look at the personal regardless. I don't give a fuck about anybody but Taylor. So when it comes to critiquing her game, I am willing to do that. But a lot of the people who were saying they were there for her and really were sending their love to her when she was being bullied, a lot of them turned around and said some really nasty shit this week that had nothing to do with game. So it's just like, that was really weird.
I do agree with a lot you said about Taylor. Taylor's rank was hard for me because I didn't know exactly. I just didn't know how I felt. The reason I had Taylor so high for a while is because, or a little bit higher for a while, is because I felt like she was in a very good position within the alliance. I didn't think anyone was planning on targeting her first. But this week she did create an enemy a little bit out of Turner, because now Turner really does want to target her first when they get to the 7, and I don't think that's necessarily good for her. However, other than Turner, I think everyone else wants Taylor near the endish, because Kyle's gonna want Joseph and Monty before her, so that's top 5. Brittany and Michael are gonna want Joseph and Monty before her, so that's top 5. So it's like, and Joseph and Monty are probably gonna want the other girls before her. So I think still within the alliance, she's still in a good position because she still has the relationship to Michael and Brittany. She still has her relationship with Joseph and Monty, and that kind of puts her in the middle a little bit. And I think that's very helpful. I think she did a great job building those relationships outside of the alliance, because now I don't necessarily. I used to think Jasmine's definitely probably going to target her if she wins. So is Terence. Now that's not necessarily true, especially after she's built this concept that this is Kyle's fault and Monty could have went this week, but Kyle. So now she has a lot of grace with them. I feel she also did not put up Jasmine when she could have, and I think that also helps. So I feel like she has done a lot of things that can help her game, and like maybe that one thing of her wanting to nominate Turner, honestly, that's the only thing that I feel like this week has hurt her game a little bit, because even when it came to the standing 10 toes down on one and Alyssa Nom, that didn't change Kyle's opinion about her. He still wants Joseph, then Monty, then her, from what we know so far. So I don't know. It just kind of seems like she's kind of in the same position, but just a little bit lower. So I'm gonna give her a 5 too, instead of the 5.5 from last week. I still think she has a great chance at winning the game. Oh my god.
Yeah, no, really, I think the scary thing for me is definitely going into next week because we don't know how this split house can turn out. We don't know who she's with. Like I said, I'm really hoping that she's with Joseph and Monty because those are two big nasty targets in front of her. Throw Jasmine over there too. Another one. You know what I mean? It's like really just give her all the safety she needs because I don't need nothing else other than that. Okay, because it can get real bad. But I think if she can get past this next double, she's gonna be set because. I mean, I can definitely see Turner getting over that. I feel like Michael and Brittany, they're talking about not going to the end with her, but they don't have many choices. That's the thing. Like options. They're doing all of these things, but they don't have those options.
Their main options was Indy, and she's going home, boo. Yeah, like they don't really have options.
So I do think they're gonna have to get over that at some point. And if she is still there when this eventual beef comes to a head, she could really take it home. So I don't think she's out.
Next we have Terence. Honestly, Terence is just so not involved in the game. It's so hard because he's not even in the fake Fly Swatters alliance. So Terence is really out of it.
Out of it.
The one thing that's good for him is that people are thinking about bringing him to the end. We see, Michael and Brittany, they had this conversation, girl. Supposedly.
Michael and Brittany changed who they want to bring to the end.
Michael and Brittany allegedly said that he could be a GOAT. But honestly, despite all of that, Terence could be a GOAT. If they do the split house... If they do this split house, and even if Jasmine and Alyssa go, Terence is still here, and they are not taking him out after that. I don't.
And the leftovers is definitely going to break up before it's time to target Terence because people want Alyssa, people want Jasmine, but no one's worried about Terence. He's going to be next to either one.
And after that, I feel like people like Michael, people like especially Brittany. Brittany needs to find someone she can beat. She's gonna need Terence to stay. People like Michael is gonna want Terence to stay so he can make it a final three with him. Monty,
I can see Taylor, Monty, and Joseph thinking let's bring
Taylor and Monty and Joseph might think they need Terence. So I do think Terence has some potential to get second. To win, that's never gonna happen. Which is why he's going to go ahead and get this 2 from me.
Yeah, he's gonna get that nasty 2 from me as well. I mean, honestly, I
know that's right.
I mean,
also he's a terrible, horrible fucking person.
I mean, Farrell mentioned that. I really have not much to say about him. He didn't do shit this week. He's nominated, so
he didn't do shit but be a horrible person. He's so fucking weird. We move. Turner. Honestly, Turner. Ooh, go King.
I think I'm gonna be honest. I think Turner at this point, specifically this week, playing the best game. Like definitely. I think his reads are a bit off. But that's mainly because he is not aware fully what's happening. So, like we mentioned, Kyle wants to start the White Brigade and he wants to bring Turner into it, and he keeps dropping hints to Turner, but Turner, because he's not racist, is not picking up on him. Because his ideal is him and Kyle Final 2, Pound Final 4, Leftovers Final 7, because Turner is he is in one of the best positions of that. And in the game overall, I think the only person who will probably target Turner would be a Jasmine, but who's voting him out? I don't think anyone at this point is voting Turner out. Everyone, especially once the leftovers start splitting, everyone's going to see Turner as a number. And he's someone that, in conversations, I noticed, like, he does not, like, he stays aside, but he still makes everyone feel like, I'm with you as well, which I think is really good for him. As a social player, he does really, really well. I wish his reads were a little bit better on strategic side. However, what he wants is actively putting him in the best position because, he's not worrying about sinking his game for this White Brigade. He's not worrying about ruining his relations within the leftovers to try to target them. He's staying good with them. He has a relationship with Alyssa, who is not going to put him up. Like I said, Jazz is really the only one. I don't think Terence would necessarily put him up. Like, when it gets to the win equity at the end of this game, everyone in this jury really likes him. I think, like, the only person's vote he probably wouldn't get is Jasmine. And, like, Jasmine really is just a non-factor when it comes to this. So, honestly, I'm going to give Turner... Should I do it? I'm scared. I'm going to give Turner a 7. I think he deserves a 7. I think he deserves a 7 because, honestly, so many people are playing so trash this week, and he is not getting targeted anywhere in the near future. Like, I think Turner, at this point, guaranteed top 5. And
I think he guaranteed top 4. I think he really is probably going to win the game.
Like, at this point. So... I think it's time to start giving him. I think it's time to start giving him the credit where it's due. I think I'm seeing a more strategic side of him. He has a goal that he wants.
He has a plan.
Exactly, he has a plan. And it's like you gotta respect that.
Yeah, honestly, I agree. And I've been the biggest Turner anti.
Me too.
Monty was on. I was like, oh, this man. Blah, blah, blah. But let's be real. Like, I'm gonna be real. In the leftovers, he's the only one who hasn't been discussed as a first target or second target, other than Brittany. And I feel like, well, Brittany's been discussed a little bit too. So he's the only one who hasn't really been discussed as a first target or second target.
No one is targeted.
People want Taylor, Monty, Joseph, Michael, Kyle, and some people want Brittany, and he's the only one who they don't want. And even if it wasn't Brittany, Turner's the more likely to win. Turner has a great win equity. He probably can win the comps. He's not targeted within the leftovers. Outside of the leftovers, he's probably not even going to be targeted even by Jasmine. He's in a wonderful position. He's in the best position in the game. The only issue is that he's not necessarily super strategic, but that's just because the plan that he has in his mind will work fine for him, I feel.
Yeah, it's very simple.
It's very simple, and it'll work fine for him. Like, I think he can win with the plan he has in his mind, so he doesn't have to do all of this hoopla. He's still putting in that thing, and I like that he still has a little ounce of self-interest, because when the girls say Alyssa, Turner be like, are you sure? And they're like, yeah.
Like, that's the funny thing.
So it shows like he does have some sense of want. He wants something. So that's good. With that being said, I'm gonna just give him a 7 too. I don't think he's necessarily that girl. I just think his position is tremendously great. And I think he's not doing bad. And everyone else has bad qualities. Everyone else has made a mistake this week. Exactly. I don't think Turner has made a mistake this week. And he's in a good position.
He just hasn't been in general, honestly. Like, it's too consistent
he hasn't
for me.
And that's the thing. When people don't make mistakes, that's one of the things that can get you the win, is just not making mistakes. And that's something Xavier did the last season. He didn't really do a lot to make mistakes. And Turner's just kind of sitting here not making mistakes. And that's good, because if everyone else fucking up their game, Kyle's being a KKK Klansman, getting caught. Joseph's doing a lot, trying to play both sides. Michael's doing a lot, trying to play both sides. Taylor's fucking up her HOH. Monty is not talking to half the house. And Turner's chilling. And that's probably going to get him to win. Turner's probably going to win the damn game.
I said this. You counted me out. I'm not even Turner saying I said this. I said early, it's something about Turner. Early in the season, I was like, if he can get past this poop shit, I just feel like Turner's going to get in a position to where he could be able to win this game, because just those personalities work really well in Big Brother. He's very easygoing. Everyone wants to work with him. Everyone likes him. He can win competitions. It's like he's kind of giving the Xavier strategy right now, to be honest. It's giving that.
Yeah. He could win the game, y'all. Let me put these whores in order. Now he done made it to the first spot, y'all.
I mean, girl, he deserves. The gameplay was abysmal for all parties this week.
It really was. All right, y'all. We have our list. At the bottom, we have Terence and Indy tied with a 2. They are the nominees, and Indy's going home. We have Jasmine right above them with a 2.5. We have Alyssa right above her with a 3. And then we have the leftovers. At the bottom of the leftovers, we have Monty with a 4.5. Then we have Kyle with a 4.75. We have Taylor and Brittany tied with a 5. And in the top 3, we have Joseph. He has a 5.75. Michael, he has a 6. And Turner, he has a 7.
This is definitely accurate, especially with the leftovers.
Definitely accurate. Down. It's giving what it needs to be giving.
Turn Daddy at the top. I don't know.
Turn Daddy at the top where he belongs. I honestly think Turner's probably going to win the game, y'all. But we will see these next couple of weeks. It's going to get spicy.
Yeah.
Let's see the next shit. Let's see this draft, y'all. Ignore them. At least Lee is losing someone. Indy's going home. So I have, on my draft, the only people I have left are Joseph, Alyssa, Brittany, and Terence. Now, I don't think Terence could win. I do kind of think Brittany could win still. I still have something in my heart for her, even though she's fucking weird.
Hang it up.
And Joseph can definitely win if he makes it past the shot that's going to get missed. Lee has 2 of the White Brigade.
I want to lose so bad. I want Kyle and Michael out.
He has Kyle and Michael. I don't think Kyle can win, but I do think Michael could win. He also has Turner, who we just said probably going to win. He also has Taylor, who could easily win. And he also has Monty, who could easily win.
I'm definitely beating him, but I mean, what else is new?
What we can hope for is that at the split house, somehow Kyle and Michael go home.
I'm here for that.
Get him out of
Also, damn, another girl that's leaving. It's going to be 4 girls left in the house. They all
because they had their weird ass anti-Taylor. We the girls, and Taylor's a weird boy. Like, it's that karma. Bye, Indy. We will be dragging on Thursday.
Yeah.
And with that being said, y'all make sure y'all check out our other videos. We post literally every week, going over the Big Brother live feeds, and then we also do this rating every week. Check us out. We do the Challenge USA, which is going to be posted tomorrow. And we have our little drag sessions that we do every Thursday after the eviction. So make sure you check that out. fucking subscribe. You bitches act like y'all don't know what a subscribe button is.
And share.
And like and comment. Tell us how you felt about what we felt about or whatever. Bye.
Give us your opinion.
Give us your opinion.